Yo, what's up guys? It's your boy Franklin here, and I'm going to be showcasing another Wi-Fi battle, but this time I know you, going against my boy Jason, who I discovered through a battle group on Facebook. And today I'm rocking a very offensive team with Swords Dance Crawdon, kyurem-black, or I believe Choice Band Crawdon. I forgot. It's been a while. Landorus, Mega Metachan, Ferrothorn, and Zapdos, and he's rocking a very defensive yet offensive pivoting team with obviously Suicide Leaf, Azelf, Mega Scizor, Torn, Magearna, Volk, and the fat annoying Gastrodon, which obviously you can see my team has no answers to it outside of Ferrothorn. But regardless, we're going to have a very good battle. So looking at the team that I actually created on my own, kyurem-black, the combination of kyurem-black and Mega Metachan is just an offensive overload for a lot of teams. So, expecting to lead off with the Azelf, of course, I'm gonna get out with the Mega Metachan, as he goes for the Azelf. Now, I was thinking he was gonna switch out, but I was like, whatever. I'm just gonna stay in, and I'm gonna get my fake out damage, so that way I can just start breaking the sash. So, I do go for the Mega Metachan, which is so beautiful in shiny form, and I'm just gonna go for the fake out here and just see how much damage this does quite a bit, even though it was a crit. So I'm just thinking, well, you know what, an elemental punch should do enough to knock it out. He goes for the Stealth Rocks, of course, as expected, since he is obviously faster than I am, but I'm gonna throw off the Ice Punch just to catch the Torn off guard if he doesn't attempt to switch it in. But regardless, we are able to get one Pokemon out. Great. The lead is in our hands now. Goes into the Torn, and obviously I'm not gonna stay in because it's a Mega Metachan. So gonna switch out, and I'm gonna go into the best answer, which is Zapdos here. And Zapdos is kind of a threat against his team as well, because if by any chance Volk does get paralyzed through my discharges, it's gonna be a problem. So the Torn goes for the U-turn, so it's a good play on my opponent's part, expecting me to switch in. And he does go into the Gastrodon, which is whatever to me. I can't really do too much against this. The only thing I can possibly do is defog these rocks away, which he possibly can, and obviously since he switched out first, this means that I had the play in hand. So I do go for the defog, which is awesome. Gonna fire those away, lower the evasiveness of this Volk, and my team kind of does get destroyed by this. So since Zapdos is very useful against Scizor and Gastro, I'm going to get in my Crawdon, expecting him to go for the Quiver Dance, because usually when you have a Volcarona out this early, more than likely your opponents are going to want to go for the QD first. And here I'm like, boy, you better not even think about it, because I even got the... So it is banded, by the way. It's a banded Crawdon. But boy, you better not even think about trying to set up on me, because I will mess you up. And expecting him to go for another Mon, I go for a knockoff, and look how much that does. That does almost half. I'm pretty sure I did 49 or 48%. So I go into the Ferrothorn, since the best defensive answer of non-superpower Mega Scizors and knockoff Scizors. So he does go for the Mega Evolution, and I believe he goes for either for the Roost or for the U-turn. And he actually does go for the U-turn, so he's taking unnecessary chip damage there. That's gonna chip him out a little bit. And the chip isn't gonna be crucial now, but later on during the game, it's going to be kind of annoying against him. And this Volk is kind of threatening against my team, so I don't know how I got out of this. Except for Crawdon, of course. So I'm going to have to sack my Ferrothorn regardless in this instance, since I don't want to sack somebody for Volk. So I get my rocks up here, which is fine by me. And I believe he goes for the Bug Buzz, expecting me to switch out. I'm like, boy, I'm staying right here. I'm a Ferrothorn. I stay in places. You see its animation? Those little thorns are stuck right in, those little barbs are stuck right into the ground. I'm not going anywhere. So right now I'm just going to try to chip away the Volk. I know this is either the Z move or Lumberry or some type of Volk. Goes for another QD, which is... I don't know if that was a good play on his part, because going for another QD doesn't make any sense, because I do have a Crawl in the back. I wouldn't be setting up with my Volk right now if I was him, because now you're starting to take unnecessary damage. I don't get burned, fortunately, but unfortunately this Ferrothorn is about to drop dead to a Fire Blast, which is coming up very soon, I believe on the next turn as well. Because if I had Protect, it might have been a different scenario for me. He goes for the roost, which is fine by me, but again, like I'm saying, I don't know why he's wasting this time if I do have a Crawdon in the back. And Aqua Jet Banded Crawdon is able to one-hit KO Volcaronas that don't have max HP and max defensive natures. So he goes for another roost, and like I said, I'm just burnt. I don't know what he's doing here. I'm just getting all my HP back. I know it doesn't really matter because I can't do much to this, but I am just trying to chip it to the point where damage calculations are become negligible for me, because I do want Crawdon to destroy him. And I believe on this turn he does go for the Fire Blast, and he's able to knock out my Ferrothorn. Even if I had the Aqua Berry, I don't think it would have mattered. So goodbye, Ferrothorn. You were a brave little Pokemon. So now I do go into my Crawdon here, and I'm like, boy, you better not even try to attack me, because you know what I'm about to do. You know what I'm clicking here. And I was thinking about going for knockoff. I was this close to clicking knockoff, because this Torn would have got messed up right here. And it actually does, because, ooh, this is banded, by the way. Look at this damage. Woo! That's what I like to see. I go for another Aqua Jet just in case, but he does end up going for the Gastrodon play, which is alright. I could have switched out, but that was way too much of a prediction to even make. So the Gastrodon kind of walls me since I am banded. He's getting all of his HP back. He has +1 special attack, and I'm like, ah, man, I gotta get out of here. Who am I gonna go into? I'm gonna go into my Kyurem. Since Kyurem doesn't really mind being burned, and I don't think he's actually gonna go for a burn here or a Scald play. He does go for the Scald play, which is, it's an alright play. It's an alright play. Luckily for me, I don't get burned. But I do pack the Z move on this Kyurem, the Free Shock Z move, and as you guys know, or you guys are about to see right now, that even though this move was a crit, the damage of this move, oh my goodness, it just drops bodies dead. And this is actually the only Pokemon I can think of in my Gen 7 history where this is the only Z move Ice type that I use. And it's only on kyurem-black, because it makes more sense. Maybe Mamoswine can use it, but I never really think of Mamoswine as a Z user, except for Tectonic Rage. But even with this damage, and even though with the crit, oh my goodness, I thought it was a blowout right there. But usually since Kyurem-blacks are more faster than Magearnas, I'm just going to fire off the Earth Power and knock out a defensive answer on his team. So, looks like Mega Medicham looks kind of clean right now. I don't have to worry about clicking high jump kicks. The Torn comes in, which is kind of odd since I was thinking Volk might be the Z user and not this thing. So he goes for the Defog just to get rid of the rocks, which makes sense, kind of, since he has the Volk, but the Volk kind of gets walled by, or gets countered by Crawdon. So anyways, I get a free Ice Beam, and I'm able to knock out the Torn, which is all great news for me, because now we're starting to pick at his team one by one. So it goes into the Scizor here. I wish I had Hidden Power Fire, which technically this Kyurem was supposed to have Hidden Power Fire. But with the Z move, the Hidden Power Fire is only regarded for Life Orb. I go into the Landorus because I want to get some damage off. As he goes for the Roost here, and here I was expecting Earthquake to do a little more since I am Jolly Nature, I believe. So I do fire off the Earthquake with base or base 100 with stab. It's 150. I was just calculating how much this does, and I was thinking this was a 2-hit KO. But it was a crit, unfortunately. So he goes for the Swords Dance here, and I'm hoping, oh boy, I hope I get another crit, because this thing's looking kind of like a threat right now. And so he does. I do switch out because I was like, I don't want to take damage from here, and I'm gonna go into my Zapdos since this Zapdos kind of walls the Scizor, and it does have the chance for it to get paralyzed, which is, you know, the yellow color in Generation 7 is kind of annoying. So I am going to get some of my HP back now that rocks are not on my side. Zapdos can come in freely. So now he withdraws the Scizor because obviously he can't do anything against it. And he goes for the Gastrodon here. Completely fine by me. And go for the Heat Wave. And he avoids the attack. It doesn't really matter, honestly. It just means that I can not miss another day, huh? So I switch out the Zapdos because I can't do anything to this. I go into the Kyurem. And with the Kyurem, what I'm actually going to do here is I'm gonna try to waste the Gastrodon's turn. So he goes for the Scald here, which is fine by me. I don't get burned here. Well, actually, no, I do get burned here. So, but it doesn't really matter because Bolt Strike and Free Shock aren't gonna do too much against the rest of his team. So it doesn't really matter. I do have Ice Beam and Earth Power, so they can do something against this team. So the Scizor comes in because it can do stuff to me. I'm just gonna fire off the Ice Beam here. And on the next play, I believe I go for the Zapdos switch in. Which I do because my plan is, so now the ultimate plan for me right now is that once Gastrodon is weakened and once I get rid of the Volk, the Mega Medicham kind of goes in on this team. But I have to be careful with Scizors at +2. So the only smart play I can do here is just fire off Heat Waves, because if he decides to stay in for some reason, Heat Wave is able to do a lot of damage. And he actually does go for the Volk play, which is, you know, again, it's whatever to me. I fire off the Heat Wave, and it doesn't do too much. But regardless, I can switch into my Crawdon, because I don't expect him to, well, no, actually go into my Landorus, because I don't want to risk the Crawdon just yet. So I could go into the Landorus. Now, the next play kind of makes no sense, because he does go for the Cutie, and looking at my calcs, a +1 max speed Volcarona should be able to outspeed any variant of Landorus. So I don't know why he switched out. I was thinking he was going to attack me, but well, regardless, I'm able to fire off this Earthquake here, and I'm like, oh my god, this Earthquake better do enough to knock it out. I hope it does. Hope I get another crit, because if I would have gotten a crit right here, this could have been bad for our antagonist. So I fire off another Earthquake here, expecting it to die, you know, I just wanted to drop dead, but it barely lives off a couple HP. He goes for the right play and Roost, because if he didn't click Roost, this game would have been over. Because like I said, Mega Medicham would have just destroyed the rest of his team. I fire off an Earthquake off the chance that he decides to stay in and just click Swords Dance or Bullet Punch. And he doesn't, because Scizors with Roost, particularly the Mega variations, are super annoying. So now I'm kind of thinking, I wonder what I'm going to still do here. I'm going to switch out into my Zapdos, since I believe this is the perfect time to prevent Scizor from getting off a Swords Dance or a U-turn, off the chance that my static from Zapdos is able to go off on it. But no, he goes for the Roost here, and he's just wasting his Roost at this point in time in the battle. And he's going to switch out, and he's going to switch into his Gastrodon. And obviously the right play for me is just to click Heat Wave or Discharge. I'm going to click Discharge because I don't want to waste my Heat Waves, because they're going to come in handy later. So I'm going to go back into my Kyurem, and now my end game is that, I can't do too much against this Gastrodon. This Gastrodon is really annoying after my Ferrothorn went down. So I'm just going to let him try to kill me, honestly. I'm waiting for the ultimate chance to Landorus to come in and explode on Gastrodon. That's my ultimate end game right now. If I'm able to do that, then that's great. So he goes into the Scizor right here. I don't know why he's scared of Kyurem packing Hidden Power Fire, which I don't have if I'm Z-move, and he's risking that Mega Scizor being, you know, frozen. Looking at Kyurem's HP, I'm like, should I waste this? I'm like, nah, whatever. I'm going to go into my Zapdos. I'm not trying to get swept by a Scizor here. And so he goes for the U-turn, and he's risking that Scizor again. He just keeps risking it with the static. Obviously never activates in my favor. That's whatever to me. So now he's going to go back into the Gastrodon. And I'm going to slowly but surely gain all my HP back. Now, if this Zapdos had Toxic, this could have been a different story, because I would have just able to throw off the Toxic on the Gastro and put it on the timer. But again, my game plan is to get rid of this kyurem-black, and once this kyurem-black gets killed off, Landorus can come in and click Explosion. He's a very offensive-oriented Landorus. So he should stay in, because I'm going to fire off the Ice Beam here. You should stay in. Anybody doesn't, and I'm like, what are you doing? Because the issue now is that I'm just gonna keep going into my Zapdos. It doesn't matter what I do. I'm gonna fire off the Ice Beam here, and that Scizor's kind of put in a very dangerous range. So I'm going to switch out the kyurem-black to use it as a sack fodder against the Gastrodon switch. And he goes for the Zapdos, and I'm like, whatever. Actually, I go for the Zapdos play here. He goes for the Bullet Punch, and again, that's not a good play. You should either be roosting or trying to switch out, predict the switches. This is the only thing I've been doing. Every time Mega Scizor comes in, Zapdos comes in because it's a hard wall to Scizor. And goes into the Gastro because obviously what I'm going to do here is just fire off the Heat Wave for the discharge. I fire off the Heat Wave and I miss it again. But you know what that means. The more I miss now, the less I miss later. Welcome to Logical Pokemon. So now it's the perfect time for me to get into my Kyurem-black. And now I'm able to sack this thing off. And now the end game will be full effect. So what he does here, he goes for the Scald, which is whatever to me. I'm able to sack off the Behemoth. It did its job. It was able to bait in the Magearna and just completely knock it out. I wanted to use the Z move on the Gastro since I believe this is a more especially defensive Gastro. And I just bring in my Mega Medicham because why not? He goes into the Volcarona, and this is kind of risky because we're both on a very interesting speed tie here. And as long as I don't get burnt, and as long as I outspeed him, I should be fine. And I actually win the speed tie. I'm like, woo! That's what I'm talking about. But I used the wrong move in Ice Punch. But whatever, we're able to knock it out. And so that Volt cannot sweep me anymore. Now there's less pressure on my team to perform. So in this instance, I do want to switch on my Medicham because I don't want this to get burnt. I go into the Landorus, kind of a questionable play on my part, since if Gastrodon does end up killing me, it'll be a big problem. He goes for the Scald, and I was hoping this better not burn me. Doesn't burn me, and I'm like, phew. Now I can fire off the secret weapon, and that is Explosion Landorus. And because since Landorus has so much attack, base attack I should say, this is gonna do a lot to the Gastrodon. Almost one hit kills it. I'm not adamant, so that's why I didn't kill. Goes for the Scald, and I'm like, oh, thank goodness. I'm telling you, thank goodness, because now I can bring in the big boy Medicham here, and I'm able to fire off a Fake Out here, and should be able to knock out the Gastrodon. But he doesn't do that. He goes into the Scizor, which is his win con, and it's like it doesn't matter because I have the, you know, the big old high jump kick here, and high jump kick is gonna do a lot, barring that I don't miss, and I don't miss. And I'm able to do massive damage to the Scizor, and it just completely knocks it out. And at this point, it is game over because now this Gastrodon. Now I know this Gastrodon has recovered, but obviously Ice Punch is going to do too much since this is a more specially defensive Gastrodon. So overall, the end game for me worked in my favor because he kind of fell for it, but also kind of made some questionable plays. I made some questionable plays, especially with the Landorus switch in, but regardless, I was rewarded, and thank God. So thank you guys for watching so much of this OU Wi-Fi battle. It's your boy Franklin, and signing out.